Everyone, happy last week. I cannot believe that it's the last week of this class. I've really enjoyed it and getting to know you all through our videos and discussions. So happy week 7. This week's reading, I have to be honest, I had to reread the chapter kind of a couple of times or reread sections of it because I did find it sometimes a little confusing, sometimes a little difficult to read. But once I kind of got through it, there were a few different takeaways that I found really fascinating. First, it really talks about that paradox a lot about is the actor acting? Are they the character? Are they themselves? What's kind of happening there? And I think that's, a big philosophical question when we get on stage. Do we become somebody else, or are we ourselves and portraying a character, bringing our uniqueness to that? And I loved Stanislavski's take on this that there is no union really, like a true union. You have to bring yourself to the table first and foremost. So when we're in this role, we bring ourselves to the table, and I like that. I don't necessarily want my middle schoolers who are struggling to find their identities to have to take on a whole different identity. I think that gives them a little bit of an escape maybe for whatever they're going through or whatever they're dealing with. So I really appreciated the stance that you have to still be true to yourself while you're portraying a character on stage. I found that definitely interesting and fascinating. And it just brought up so many questions for me about, why we do what we do. And one of the importances that I think came out, and one of the things that I always find myself talking to administrators about, is the importance of drama. And it was interesting to read about the actors being able to rebel and to be able to partake in a revolution without and maybe getting themselves in trouble with it so that they can kind of express their ideas behind this. And that working in theater and with plays and with these works of literature is a way of expressing discontent or the signs of the times or any of that. So I felt like that was a really strong correlation as well. And we know this, theater of the oppressed and all of the different forms that theater has taken, how vitally important it is. I think sometimes for our administrators, they get lost in numbers. I'm in Massachusetts, and they get lost in the MCAS numbers. That's our state testing numbers, and it's ELA and math that they really worry about. So yeah, I've definitely made the correlations that we help in ELA. I go over dramatic structure and all of that. But I think, they talk a good talk about social emotional development for our kids, and then at the end of the day it becomes all about the numbers. And it's good to help them revisit it, that theater and drama is a way that we can tap into that with our students, whether they're in elementary, middle, high school, and beyond, that we can help them express themselves, like they're not being somebody else. They're true to themselves and their authenticity, and bringing this in a safe space. And I think that that was hugely important to read for me. That it gives kind of those stats that you can bring back to an administrator to say, listen, this is hugely important. I'm preaching to the choir here with you guys, but when you're talking to an administrator, maybe not so much. So I also really liked the way that they talked about not being slavish to the writing of the author, that each actor brings something unique to the character, that the character is still being formed when the actor gets their hands on it. So yes, the writing's done, the dialogue's done, but then the actor puts on, that twist, whatever it is, whatever they're going to read into that character and bring to that character, that's very important as well. So I really liked that whole point that they brought up, that each actor will bring something different. And if you saw two different productions of a play with two different actors, you might see completely different representations. Watching Josh Groban play Sweeney Todd, and then watching Aaron Tveit play Sweeney Todd, you're going to get two very different Sweeney Todds. And I did see both of them, and they were two very different Sweeney Todds. And it was really fascinating to just read that in here. That yes, the word of the author is so important. We want to honor that, but that each actor brings their own flavor to that actor. And I think that helps our students kind of bring a sense of self too when they're reading it, that they're not just playing something that was written there on the page, that they can still be themselves within that formed identity that they're still forming. And then the last was public solitude that they talked about, and a way to kind of overcome performance anxiety and stage fright. And I know for some of my kids, they do struggle with stage fright and performance anxiety, and just having those examples again about public solitude and that work on that helping anxiety for our kids, focusing on something absolutely completely other than what's going to be happening on the stage is really important. And I think, doing some exercises prior to getting us started for rehearsals or tech week or the show, I think would be really, really helpful. So overall, what I've taken away from this class in general is that there's not just one way, obviously, of doing things. And I think I loved in one chapter that we read about the multiple choice acting, right? That we can kind of pull from our different bag of tricks that we have and different philosophies and different techniques and all of that to find what works best for our students and our actors. And I love that, because what may work for one may not work for the other. And it's our job as educators to really cater to, not cater, I don't like that word so much, but to accept the differences in all of our students and how they learn best and how they perform best. And so for me, I'll be taking away lots of bits and pieces about what not to do with my students, and also what to try with my students and how to push those boundaries with them while still maintaining a safe learning environment. So I really appreciated getting to know you all. I hope everybody has a great rest of the month of October. And if you're taking more classes, good luck to you. Maybe I'll see you on a different class.